good start to your Monday by the time you see this video. Well, you somehow were able to read this tab. Well, it's happened. We finally now have Hurricane Ian. It's beginning its rapid intensification phase, and we will go ahead and take a look at the satellite. So we can already tell just from looking at it compared to the last couple of days that it is a lot healthier. Plenty of convection and banding coming around all sides of the storm now. It's looking a lot more symmetrical. Has that buzzsaw shape to it. We'll go ahead and put this in motion if I can. It's moving a little slow. Radar Omega shouldn't be moving slow compared to those other sites because at least you pay for Radar Omega. But there we go. My internet's a little bit bad around here too because I practically live in the boonies. Live right next to the river and a bunch of trees. But anyway, you can clearly see that this has become a lot better organized, a lot more well defined. The winds have increased to 75 miles an hour. Not to mention we have that buzzsaw motion like I mentioned, has that shape to it, a lot more convection around the center. This thing is not done strengthening at all, and I expect it to maybe reach even category 3 by the time it gets to Cuba here. So there will be a landfalling major hurricane impacting Cuba within the next 24 hours, I would say. Hurricane warnings are already in effect in this region, and now if we even scoot this up, we have tropical storm and hurricane watches for the Florida Keys. Well, actually, I think this could very well become a tropical storm warning very soon. Yes, we do have tropical storm warnings for the Keys. Just thought I had to check and make sure, but yes, we do have a tropical storm warning for the Keys. You are expected to feel tropical storm winds very soon today. And then we have hurricane watches up the Florida coast, including the city of Tampa here. Now, I will say there is still a bunch of model uncertainty as to where this goes. We have the GFS and a lot of the American global models pushing it on the western half of this cone here, maybe heading toward the Appalachia Bay, whereas we have the Euro and the British models kind of pushing it more towards the eastern half of this cone, maybe even towards Tampa. So not much has changed in regards to these areas. You still have a little time to get ready, but not much. Time is running out. So hopefully you've done what you've needed to do now. And if you just need to get out of there, this is the time to do it. Because if you wait till the last minute, unfortunately a lot of other people have the same idea, and the exodus out of there is going to be a lot more difficult. So let's go ahead and take a look at the latest discussion here. And the key messages are basically we are looking at an intense flash flooding and mudslide threat in Jamaica and Cuba, and then the same can be expected in Central Florida. And then we're expecting her to become a major hurricane probably Tuesday morning from the looks of it. Could strengthen a little bit faster now that it's gotten its act together. But one thing that I also want to mention that's not brought up in this key discussion here is the fact that this storm, as it goes over the Gulf, there's a mid-level ridge. There's a mid-level ridge and a trough here that are going to pull this storm to the north, making a U.S. impact practically inevitable. But not to mention, this is also going to slow the storm down, and in doing so, it's going to increase this wind field. So there are a lot of areas that I didn't mention that are going to still end up receiving impacts, even though you are going to probably be far away from the center. So areas that aren't really ruled out from experiencing tropical storm conditions. Mobile, I'm looking at you. Panama City, definitely looking at you. Apalachicola, Destin, pretty much the entire state of Florida. Because this storm has already gotten pretty big. We'll go back to the satellite. But if you actually look at it, I was zoomed out, but if you actually look at it, it's almost the full size of this strait here between the Yucatan and Cuba. So if we're expecting this storm to increase in size along with its wind field, I expect maybe this half of the Gulf to potentially experience tropical storm conditions. So that could be big problems for a lot of people. Even inland, I think this thing will have very far reaching impacts, even into the inland south. Georgia, we're definitely looking at you there. And then the Carolinas, too. And really the Appalachian, the entire Appalachians, we're looking at you. Flip flop back here. And also, one thing to mention now that we're getting pretty close to landfall, because with this storm moving as fast as it has, we're looking at a landfall around maybe late Wednesday evening to Thursday, and then this will push further inland on Friday. So now we're within 3 days. We can start talking about the severe weather impacts. Now, if you're on that right front quadrant of this storm, one thing that almost always is a possibility are inland water spouts, or tornadoes, basically. That right front quadrant, especially with that trough that's coming into, is going to lead to increased wind shear. So we're looking at a potential tornado threat towards southeastern or southwestern Florida, where we have Cape Coral, Sarasota, Fort Myers, Port Charlotte, and Lehigh Acres. We're watching you for the threat of a possible tornado on Tuesday, and then this threat will transition further inland on Wednesday. On Wednesday, we're looking at pretty much almost all of Central Florida. We have Orlando and Tampa involved in it now. A lot of the same areas, but we also are adding St. Petersburg and Clearwater into the equation. I anticipate this threat to move further to the north the next day. So, hypothetically speaking, in fact, I wish I had a way to open a second window of radar Omega, because then I would be able to draw a line right about here, pretty much from Savannah, maybe even Augusta. We'll have to watch you guys for a potential tornado threat. I mean, we don't really need to look at much else as far as the hazard types are concerned with this, because wind threat is going to be obvious. Hail threats, there really isn't too much one with these hurricanes. It's not like these have high lapse rates, so which is what you would look for with hail, but the tornado threat is definitely there. And there you have it. There's our slight risk right there. No real need to necessarily look at the models here, because we pretty much laid it out already. So with that being said, I'm pretty much going to end the video here. This video is probably going to be under 10 minutes, but I thought I'd give you guys a quick update as to what's going on with Ian. I'll be back this afternoon with another video on Ian. We're pretty much in storm mode on this channel here, as are a lot of other weather YouTubers and meteorologists. So there's plenty of content coming your way from all of us in the weather community. Till then, stay safe, and I will see you guys soon. It's Ty Metalhead signing off. Ty or Metalhead Weatherman signing off.